I know that we was told that he was emotional, and it was all over the place. But whatever it is, it had to be something major for him to act in that way. He may not have been in the best emotional state, but I do believe they didn't have to take it to the extent that they took it to. Initially, when they called, they just told us that Harvey had passed and he had a heart attack. The emotions never stop. I mean, you know, we learned how to live day to day with him being gone, but to know what Harvey actually went through, you know, my brother suffered. He knew death was coming, and no one was there to help him. No one wanted to help him because they could have helped him, but they didn't.
For the last 6 months, something went way downhill. He was under the impression that I had stolen $1 million from him that he had won from the Publishers Clearinghouse. He needed a mental evaluation. That is what he needed. And obviously you're not going to get that in any jail cell.
Harvey Hill might have easily been forgotten, a lone statistic amid the rising death toll in America's jails. But his death points to sweeping issues in U.S. jails. Lax oversight, poor health care, and meager funding have contributed to a steady rise in inmate mortality.
In an unprecedented public accounting of deaths in more than 500 of America's jails, Reuters found from 2008 to 2019, more than 7,500 inmates died. 2/3 of the dead, nearly 5,000 people, had yet to be tried and were presumed innocent. Harvey Hill was one of them. The U.S. government collects data on who's dying in jails around the country, but keeps the information secret. So Reuters conducted its own tally of deaths in America's jails, pinpointing where botched health care and bad jailkeeping are claiming lives.
There is no more fundamental question we should be able to answer than how safe or how dangerous is a jail facility. And yet we are not able to answer that question. We don't know how much violence there is, how many deaths there are, what kind of medical issues people have. There is a fundamental lack of data about what is going on in our jails in this country. If the data is kept at all, it's kept internally, it's not publicly available. We need some kind of system that allows us to compare from facility to facility so we can answer questions about how safe, how dangerous is a particular jail, and what could be done that would improve things.
For the past 20 years, the U.S. Justice Department has collected inmate death information from jails on a voluntary basis. But Reuters found flaws in the federal reporting system that allows some jails to camouflage homicides as accidents or illnesses. And when sick or dying inmates are rushed to the hospital and die there, jails can often pass off their deaths as out-of-custody fatalities, as was the case with Kyra Warner, who was booked in Indiana's Marion County Jail in July 2018.
Kyra Warner Very sad case. She had shot up meth before she was arrested. She already was on meth and had track marks on her arm. But she had Xanax on her too, like 23 tabs of Xanax. She ingested them right when she was arrested because she didn't want to be charged with possession of that drug as well. And when she went in, she was okay at first, but then she starts spazzing out. She's uncontrollable in her movement of her limbs, and she's in a female holding cell. And there's about 20 other women in there, and they're real concerned about her. So they get a correctional officer to come over and check her out, and he does. The inmates tell them that, hey, she was on meth, and she said she swallowed 23 Xanax pills. They take her vital signs, although because her arms are twitching so much with these spasms, they can't really get great readings, but they say, oh, well, they're within normal readings. She must be faking it. Let's take her out of this female holding cell and put her in a single cell and just observe her on a video monitor. Not a medical observation. They admit it's not a medical observation. Nurses never come and see her again. The officers that are watching her aren't medically trained to provide any kind of medical care. And they basically say, well, if the only thing we do is if she stops breathing, we call the medical. Well, by the time she stopped breathing, which was a couple hours later, and they called medical, it was too late. She was brain dead. They rushed her to the hospital. She carried on a couple more days on life support before they pulled the plug and she was dead.
We're touching 45 to 50,000 bookings a year coming in and out of our door. So that's a lot of people to triage, a lot of people to look at. We're not built to be the largest detox facility in the state. We're not built to be the largest mental health hospital in the state. Right now we have more detox beds than any single hospital in the state. Who wants to come into this building and work? So it's harder to find nurses. It's harder to find healthcare to come in and do it.
I didn't know it was that bad. I thought he got into a confrontation and he had a cardiac event. I don't think it would take a bunch of kicking in the head and slamming into walls. I mean, sure, you got to be able to subdue somebody without that.
He was my son. He was a real nice guy. He did a lot of work. He loved his dogs. For them to do that to him and nothing been done about it, that was so hard.
It makes us furious, but we have to lay all that aside and just keep on going and trying to get justice for them. You know, yeah, it's frustrating because no one has been held accountable. They get up every day, they see their families, they go to work. Some of them probably still in the same position that they was in. But my brother's no longer here. He haven't been given justice.